I love to dance. I always have. Dancing makes me happy in a way that nothing else does. I'm always moving. I never sit still. But moving to music and feeling the rhythm in my body truly brings me joy. I took a couple of ballet classes as a kid and I loved them. Dance class never required me to sit still. I didn't mind doing what our teacher asked us to because I was moving to music. And the sparkly costumes that we got to wear at the annual recital were an added bonus. I felt like a fairy princess, even if I never did quite get the whole pointed toe thing. But I stopped because ballet hurt. My parents were told it was because of the floor being tile over cement, and that I needed to take classes at a place with a wooden floor. That meant a real ballet school, not community ed. We couldn't afford it. So ended my early dance career. But I'd still dance in my bedroom. In high school, I took a couple more classes. I was fortunate enough to go to a high school that had a dance department in a state that required daily gym. I took dance instead of gym and loved it. My teachers said that I had a natural sense of rhythm. I could feel the music in her choreography. My body just added those little nuances that make dance interesting to watch. I didn't have to think about them. But I had an issue. I hurt a lot. Remember that thing about the floor in my ballet classes? It wasn't the floor. I spent my teen and early adult years hurting. My knees hurt, my back hurt, my neck hurt. I went on and off a cane as pain dictated. I felt like the world's youngest senior citizen. In college, I took adapted PE, and I have to say that playing wheelchair racquetball against a paraplegic who was a state tennis champion, not my favorite memory. I still loved dance, the noun, but I couldn't do the verb. I also took a class called The Art of Dance in Contemporary Society. It fulfilled my last humanities credit. And, dance. I was only reading about dance and watching dance, but at least it was dance. Not long thereafter, I found a doctor who told me that the reason I hurt was not my knees, back, or neck. The problem was my feet. I had severely prolapsed arches. I switched my footwear to shoes with massive orthotics, and suddenly I could walk again. But then I graduated. I went on to grad school, I got married, I had kids, twins even. Not really the time to be starting a dance career, but sometimes I'd dance in my living room. Time passed, and I got a desk job, and I sat. Too much. I gained weight, I lost muscle. I lost the ability to do everyday things, to move in the way that I wanted. In short, I wasn't happy. I decided that I needed an excuse to move, and I remembered that I had always loved to dance. I signed up for a beginning jazz class. I was a beginner, right? It was hard. I've never been willowy or lithe. All the flexibility that I have today is hard-won, and in the last few years. At the time, I came nowhere near touching my toes. Everyone else in the class could touch theirs. Combos were difficult. The teacher would be showing us something, and I was the lumbering water buffalo struggling with the first 8 counts while everyone else floated around me. I lasted 1 session. What I hadn't realized at the time is that many beginning adult dance classes tend to fill up with former dance majors who have also found themselves sitting too much and also wanting to start moving again. Beginning classes are the right place for them if they're just getting back to dance. But when the class is filled with nothing but former dance majors, teenagers, it's hard for a beginning water buffalo to keep up. I still wanted to move, and I still needed to dance. A friend had just started taking a class in belly dance and suggested that I try it. Why not, I thought. It was dance. I went to a class at a local studio and found that I could do most of the movements that the teacher asked of us. Not only that, but the things that were a challenge for me were a challenge for almost everyone. Apparently, belly dance didn't depend on elastic hamstrings, but rather on the ability to isolate movements to different body parts and using that isolation to express musicality. These were things that were much better suited to my body. And unlike the jazz class, the beginning belly dance class was filled with actual beginners. I signed up for classes twice a week, and I started practicing in my living room.